In today's video, I'm going to be sharing all about SONLIGHT History Bible Literature Level E, which is Intro to American History, Year 2 of 2. I'm going to be sharing all of the materials that we will be using as we use this program. I will also talk a little bit about how I organize my materials that we are using that current week. We have completed almost 6 weeks of this curriculum so far. Hi everyone, welcome to our homeschool table. My name is Jerilyn. I'm a mom of 3 kids, ages 10, 3, and 1, and this is the 6th year that we have been homeschooling. I started homeschooling my daughter when she was in kindergarten, and she is now in 5th grade, and we have been using SONLIGHT since she was in 1st grade. It was actually in kindergarten that I found out about SONLIGHT. I hadn't heard about it before. So we started with the Level B World History Year 1 of 1, and we used that in 1st grade and into 2nd grade. And then we also used Level C in 3rd grade. We would have used Level D in 4th grade, but since I was going to be having a baby between 3rd and 4th grade, I had decided that I didn't think I could handle all of the books that came with SONLIGHT, so I got a totally different program. And then in about November, really regretted that decision. And so I borrowed my friend's Bookshark Level D to do as many of the books as we could that would have gone in the SONLIGHT Level D program. Level D and E are the Intro to American History levels. So now in 5th grade, we are finally on the History Bible Literature Level E, which is the 2nd year of American history. And it's really going well. And I'm so glad that we went back to it after part of a year of not using SONLIGHT at all. So the way that I have my materials organized, I have everything kind of on one shelf here on my bookcase. And all of my daughter's things go in this shelf down below. So her readers that are in this basket actually go one shelf down. I just put it all up here so that you could see it easily. But I have my teacher's manual over here in this binder that I pull out 6 weeks at a time to put in a different binder that's just a little bit easier to manage. I have all of the read alouds, and then the history resources next, and then the Bible resources kind of at the beginning. So I'm going to actually pull all of these things off of the shelf and go to the table so that I can show you a little bit better what is included in the curriculum. So first, I just want to show you a little bit inside of my binder. I just used a 2-inch binder from the store and did not wind up getting the giant SONLIGHT binder. And the reason for that is that I only use the History Bible Literature program. If I was using this along with science and language arts, I would probably go ahead and get the bigger binder. But since I only use this, I didn't need as much room. They sell, I believe, a 4-inch binder, and they are absolutely gigantic. So I have actually had one in the past, but for now, I just have this regular binder. So inside, this program comes with these maps, and these are foldable. So they unfold into several sections and are laminated. The program also comes with timeline figures, and I have mine all cut and sorted already. But these just come in sheets that are actually printed on sticker paper, and I have gone through and labeled what week number they go with so that we can easily get them out. So I actually keep these in my working binder, which I will show you in a few minutes. But I just keep the extras here in the front pocket. Then behind the map starts the instructor's guide. And I won't show you a ton into the instructor's guide because it is proprietary information, and you can get a sample, however, by sending SONLIGHT your email, and then they will email you a sample of the first 3 weeks of the program. So if you are interested in that, check out their website and request a sample. Here at the beginning, there's a list of all the books and what week they start in, and you can find that on their website. But for this video, I'm not going to show the order that they go in. Then this is something that you can get in the sample. Basically, the way that the instructor's guides work is that they're set up by week, and they also sell these little tabs. I believe this is an add-on that you have to click to purchase with your order, but I really find them handy. They have 1 through 36, plus then they have a tab for section 3 and section 4, which are just parts of your instructor's guide. And this is just History Bible Literature, and it is clearly very thick. Another thing that I like to order with my level are the binder labels and book labels. And so I actually put a little sticker on each book at the very bottom to show what level they go with, so that when I'm looking at my shelf, I can easily find if something's out of place, or if I find a book out around in the house that my daughter has read, I know where it goes back to. But this is what a week looks like. So it is laid out in 5 days. They also sell a 4-day option. And for me, I just really like all the books. So I order the 5-day option, and then we try to squeeze it into 4 days a week, or we just do the next day on the next day kind of thing. We don't worry about it being exactly done in 36 weeks. This is the Bible section here. And so they have listed all of the books that you use each week. So Starting Strong, Case for Kids, and then there's a student reading, which I put on my daughter's assignment sheet. She reads that on her own. And then we do the parent reading together. Oftentimes I use the audio Bible and we read along with it during breakfast time. Then we have memorization, and I will show you how I have created a booklet for memory work. And then Sing the Word, The Heavens Declare. This is a CD. I'll be showing you that as well. Then we have the history and geography section, and it tells you which books you need. So for this week, all I need to do is pull out these 2 books, this book and the Songs About America. Songs About America is a digital download. It's not a physical CD that you get with your order. And so if you do order, you would need to make sure to download this from an email that you get sent. Then there's the read aloud section. So there's always a read aloud book along with the poem book. And so these are scheduled for 2 days a week. We merge our poetry into 1 day, and then on the other day we do our timeline figures. Instead of doing timeline figures every single time that they're scheduled, we lump them all together and do them on Thursdays usually. Then we have the readers section here, and so this is what your student would be reading. And I will show you here at the back, but there are discussion questions that you can use to talk with your kids about the readers and about the read alouds. So then I'm going to show you week 2's. So behind the schedule, there are notes, and these come in really handy. So these have discussion questions for the history, the Bible, and then the read alouds and readers are in a separate section. So you'd have to get those out for whatever books that you're on at the time. But these are great to have. I especially like them for reviewing. So if we've read something, then I will go back to whatever we read yesterday, discuss those questions, and then move on to that day's readings. So these are all of the notes for every week, 1 through 36. Then at the very back, you also get a certificate of completion that you can give your child at the end. If you like to keep records, or if you need to keep records, then you can show that they've completed this. And then there is section 3. So this is the section for reading assignments and notes for read alouds. And then this section back here is for readers. So as you can see, there are just pages and pages of discussion questions that go with the read alouds. And then same thing with the readers. Then back here a little farther in section 4 are the instructor's guide resources. So there's a scope and sequence. Then we have the timeline figure schedule. So it tells you exactly when things need to be put in the timeline book. We do this a little bit differently, like I said before. And then it also is for the readers and for the read alouds, because there are some timeline figures for those as well. This is just where I keep my binder labels and book labels. Just in case one falls off, I have a few extra here. But that is what is in my binder. Now, like I said earlier, I also use what I call a working binder, and I got that name from the Sonlight advisors that talk on their Sonlight YouTube page. But I really like using these pocket dividers, and this is what my working binder would normally look like when it's set up for my regular Sonlight materials. So here in the front pocket are the reader's notes, and so when my daughter is at the table with me, I can ask her, usually I ask her about whatever she read the day before. So I can ask her some questions if she's kind of having a hard time remembering. Normally I just let her narrate that to me. So then in the back pocket, I have the foldable map. And as you can see here, there are several maps and they are numbered. And in the teaching notes, it'll tell you what map and what coordinates to have your child look up on the map. So I'll just hand this to my daughter, tell her which map number to go to, and she will find whatever we're looking for that day. Then I have just 6 weeks worth at a time. And we are right in the middle of week 6 right now. So that is why we just have weeks 1 through 6 here. And I like to keep this little sticky tab, just one of these little flags, over the one that we're actually on so that I can quickly just go to it instead of trying to remember what week are we on again. I just keep a little highlighted note there. So then once we're done with those 6 weeks, I will put them back into my regular binder and pull out the next 6 weeks to have those all ready to go. I also keep the timeline figures in the pocket here. And so I just pull out the ones that we need for that week and have my daughter put them in her timeline book. Let's go ahead and start by looking at the readers. I have this one sticking up in the front because it's the one that my daughter's working on right now. And this is called Turn Homeward, Hannah Lee. This is a book set in the Civil War times. One of the things that I really like about Sonlight readers is that starting at level D, all of the readers go along with the history time period. So it really helps the student to get a good feel for what that time period might have been like. And I've really been liking it, and it really pushes my daughter to read books that she would not normally pick up at the library. So I really appreciate that. And they are at a level that is good for her. She's a really strong reader, and so I normally don't really follow along with the discussion questions quite like they have outlined for me, but my daughter does a lot of narrations and tells me about what she's reading, and that's good enough for me. So right now she is reading Turn Homeward, Hannah Lee. And I will just share with you the other books that she will be reading. So, Shades of Grey, Sing Down the Moon, Old Yeller, Helen Keller, The Wright Brothers, Hero Over Here, All of a Kind Family, George Washington Carver, Thimble Summer, Gone Away Lake, The 17th Swap, Plain Girl, Henry Reed Inc., Brutchko, From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankenweiler, Because of Winn-Dixie, By the Great Horn Spoon, and Freedom Train. So if you were counting, that was 19 books total. The next few things that I'm going to show you are from the Bible section of this program. The first thing being the CD that comes with the program, The Heavens Declare, and you can actually get this as an MP3 download from your order on the website as well. So that's how I usually access it. I have it saved in a file on my phone, and so when we need to listen to the CD, we just play it on our Bluetooth speaker from my phone. But it is nice to have this available. So the way that Bible works in the program is that you read this book throughout the course of the week. You would read one chapter per week, and at the beginning of the week, you would just start by reading. It's usually just a page or two, and then there are some questions and activities, and then that is the end of the chapter. So they're pretty short, and what I have found is that at the end of the story, there's a Bible verse that's referenced, and usually it is either the student reading on day 1 or day 2 of that week. I normally read this story after we have read whatever the passage is that goes along with it. So I kind of look ahead in the story to see what that's going to be and make sure that we've already read that one. This usually takes us about 10 to 15 minutes on the first day. And if it's longer as far as the questions go, I will split it up over the course of the first 2 days, so Monday and Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, this book is scheduled. This is actually 3 books in one. It is Case for a Creator for Kids, Case for Christ for Kids, and Case for Faith for Kids by Lee Strobel. My daughter has really enjoyed these chapters so far. They're pretty short. They take us maybe 10 minutes to read, and they're scheduled on the 3rd day of each week, so Wednesday. So this book has more of a scientific feel to it, and it asks a lot of really good questions. So chapter 2 is talking about a Big Bang beginning and how scientists try to explain the Big Bang theory, and it has lots of great questions. It always has good explanations as to what different things mean, like vacuum in space, energy. There's lots of vocabulary that they refer to and talk about a lot. There are silly pictures, of course, that make it more exciting for kids to read. But we have been really liking this book, and every time we finish a chapter, which there's only 1 chapter per week, my daughter wants to read another one. And as much as I would love to just continue reading this the whole day, we do have to stop and move on to the next thing. Now, this next part of Bible doesn't come like this. I made this little booklet, but in the lesson plans, there is a whole section that you practice each week of a memory verse. And at the beginning of level E, for the first 8 weeks, I believe, my daughter is memorizing Psalm 103, which by the end of week 8, she is reading 20. It goes on to the back here, right here. 22 verses. So Sunlight writes the passage that you're going to be memorizing that week, and they give you the reference in the notes. I just went through and made little pages so that we had no reason to not work on the memorization. So I opened to the week that we're on in the morning, and she reads the new part for the week, and then she reads the whole entire thing. Now, she won't have to do that on weeks where we're just doing a smaller section of verses and it's not building on itself. But for right now, we are learning a very long passage. So that is a little bit about why I decided to make a little booklet. You definitely don't have to do this, but it's really helpful for us because when I didn't have it before, I tended to skip it or not put as much priority on memorization. When you order your very first History Bible Literature program with Sonlight, you're going to want to buy a timeline book. And the current timeline books have a blue cover, I believe. They're a little bit different of a cover, but the inside is the same. You only need to buy one timeline book for your family. You can do multiple timeline books if you have multiple children, if you want to. I am just having my daughter put everything in the one timeline book, and we'll probably use this either until we run out of room or till we finish high school. So you'll definitely want to pick up a timeline book at some point. I've had this one since we ordered our first SONLIGHT History Bible Literature at the beginning of 2020. So that's why ours might look a little bit different than what they have now. The main history book that you use throughout Level E is The Landmark History of the American People, and this is From Charleston to the Moon. This is Volume 2. There was Volume 1 that was used in Level D the first year. It has a red cover. This one has 36 chapters, and you just read maybe 2 to 3 chapters per week generally. And then you also read the American History book by Smithsonian, and these you would usually read either a 2-page spread or 2 2-page spreads. Another spine book is the World Wars, and this is an Usborne book, and we haven't started in this book yet, so I don't have a lot to say about it, but it's hardback and it has very beautiful pictures that I have been looking at already. The other 3 books that go along with the history portion are One Voice, the story of William Wilberforce. And this is a very interesting book. This was actually the first book that we started out with this year. And this book is written in poetry form. So they are poems that either he wrote or people wrote about him or that he wrote to people. So it was a kind of an interesting book to read. But we've made a lot of connections to other things since we've read this book. So I'm really glad that we read it, even though it was kind of different to read. Another book is Lights in a Dark Place, True Stories of God at Work in Colombia. And this is by Rebecca Davis, part of the Hidden Heroes series. And this is the 5th book. We read another one of these books in Level C, I believe. So we really liked the other one, so I'm sure we're really going to like this one. We haven't read this one yet. And then this one is In Search of the Source, A First Encounter with God's Word. So we haven't read this one yet either, but are looking forward to that. So for Read Alouds, we will start out with the poetry book that goes with Level E. This is How to Eat a Poem, a smorgasbord of tasty and delicious poems for young readers. And these are kind of silly poems. My daughter finds them humorous. And you read 2 poems a week. They are scheduled on Tuesday and Thursday, or day 2 and day 4. We merged it into one day, and then on the 4th day we do our timeline figures, but that's for another video. So these are fun short poems. Then I will show you all of the rest of the read alouds. So we have A Letter to Mrs. Roosevelt, Little Britches, The Great Wheel, Caddy Woodlawn, Across 5 Aprils, and The Great Turkey Walk. Then we have Every Soul a Star, which I did notice has been replaced in the current level of Level E. And the new book that they have put instead is Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus by Dusty Bowling. So this is the only change in the read alouds. Then we have A Summer of Sundays, General Butterfingers, In the Year of the Boar and Jackie Robinson, Miracles on Maple Hill, The Winged Watchman, King of the Mound, and Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. So those are all of the read alouds that we will be doing this year. And even though I have the physical copy of all the books, I do try and utilize audiobooks whenever I can. So I've looked up all of these books through our library's Libby app, And I think there are about 6 total that I can use the audio for instead of reading the books myself. And that is just helpful to just take a little bit off my plate every once in a while when we have a book scheduled that I don't personally have to read aloud, since we do lots of other read alouds in our homeschool as well. So here is my basket that I put all of my Sonlight materials in. So I have the Bible books that we use each week, and then I have the poetry book, and then the memorization booklet that I made. Then I put in the larger books, the Landmark History of the American People and the American History Visual Encyclopedia. And then I put my mom binder or working binder right on top. And that is what I carry to and from my bookshelf each day and just set on the table. I open my binder and lay it out for the day. I hope that it was helpful for you to see what is inside of this program and kind of how I organize it and how we use it. We have been really enjoying the Level E this year and definitely plan to continue going through Sonlight in the future. We just love all of the books and the literature style of learning. So it's been really great for us. I would love to know if you have used this level or any of the other Sonlight levels, and especially if you have used higher levels of this program. They are harder to find information on here on YouTube, so I'm always looking to hear just how people have liked the higher levels, and if you have any tips or tricks or anything like that to share with me as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a like, and click the notification bell also so that you know when I post a new video. I am going to be doing some homeschool updates throughout the next several months, just letting you know how we are liking the curriculum that we're using, as well as specifically Sonlight updates and kind of how that is going as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today at our homeschool table, and we'll see you next time.